right, folks, here we are, another podcast. It's been a little while. SFL.media, the podcast, the website, the myth, the legend. We're with Patrick. PJZNY is his handle. I am Josh. Mr. MISTERJOSHW is my handle. And, most of the time we talk about serious subjects. We've done a lot of war talk about Iran. We've talked about the disclosure or the lack of disclosure that has still not really happened, and the deep rabbit hole dive that we've done with all of the alien talk and loosh farms and koosh balls and all the like. And but today we're going to go after something that's, I guess, for lack of a better term, we're going to call it entertainment. I don't know. It's a TV show on Netflix. It's a documentary, but it's hardly entertainment. It's real life. And we're talking about The Crash. Did I get that title right? The Crash?
Yes, sir.
So Patrick has some very interesting opinions on it. I have some interesting opinions on it. We've talked about this a lot. I'm going to let him open up with what he thinks, and he'll give a synopsis as well of the documentary. I think you'll be surprised of what he has to say. And while we had a lot in common, what we thought, we definitely disagree, at least from some of the legal aspects of all this, because at the end of the day, that's what
I think we're on the reverse sides of where we normally are. But that's okay.
Strangely enough.
So here's your case overview and just the basic stuff you need to know to discuss this. So the incident happened on July 31st, 2022 at 5:30 a.m. in Strongsville, Ohio. The driver was Mackenzie Shirilla, then 17 years old. Now she's 21. This has been going on for years. The victims, Dominic Russo, 20, her boyfriend, and Davion Flanagan, 19, their friend, both died instantly at the scene. The impact. Mackenzie drove her 2018 Toyota Camry down an obscure commercial route, Progressive Drive. The vehicle's black box revealed she floored the gas pedal to 100% capacity, accelerating to 92 to 100 miles an hour, and slammed directly into a brick building, the Plidco building. Crucial black box data, there was zero braking before impact. So basically what happened, long story short, is this girl left early in the morning from a friend's party. She had her boyfriend in the car and their best friend. And for whatever reason, at some point, she turned off the normal road, went down a dead end, floored it, and ran directly into a building. And they were both killed. And she had to be pried out of the car with the jaws of life. And she ended up surviving. After surviving, she was free for a while, and they ended up prosecuting her for the murder of both people as an adult, and she was convicted.
First-degree murder, the crux of the entire case, which is what we're going to do a deep dive about. That was a great synopsis of it. This had a lot of layers, and this might be a long podcast because I think we're going to talk about the lawyers themselves, the legalities of the whole thing, whether she meant to do this or not, whether this was intentional, because again, a lot of layers, and then whether there should be murder or manslaughter. So let's kind of take it part for part. And I'm going to ask you the first question. Do you think and this is probably the biggest question people ask, and I think the lion's share of people all sway a certain way, but I think you sway a different way. Do you think she meant to do this?
I think she probably meant to do it. I think she has some guilt, certainly, but I don't think it's as drastic as people have made it out. And I certainly don't think it's first-degree murder. The boyfriend had cheated on her before. They had had some fights. The fights didn't seem that bad, in my opinion. Not like other people have made them out. Almost all of my friends or my fights that I've seen in a relationship all seem worse than their fights. So I think they made a lot about nothing. And I just think that it seems like something must have happened in that car. Maybe there was a fight. Maybe she was trying to scare them. Maybe she was trying to get in an accident. I don't know. But I think that would land you in the manslaughter area. I don't know where they get first-degree murder from. First-degree murder is like premeditated. I plan. I show up someplace. I shoot you, all of that. So I don't see where you go from manslaughter to that.
Yeah, this. I don't think enough was made of this. Certainly not in the documentary. There was so much to fill the documentary with. And by the way, if you watch any other specials on this, and there's tons and tons of them, I mean, this is
very repetitive specials, but there's a lot of them. God knows.
Yeah, but they also, a lot of them cover a lot of stuff that the Netflix documentary didn't cover. So if you really do some deep dives on this, you get to find out some things that you didn't see in the Netflix documentary. For instance, the amount of times that she did check this route, which kind of lends to she planned this out because she checked this route out before. obviously the lack of brakes is the main thing I think that did her in. The zero brakes and the 90 to 100 miles an hour for an extended period of time was just we're going down, honey, we're going down swinging, sugar, we're going down swinging. Um, people bring up did she should have died herself. I mean, she had a death wish, and I do believe that's what it was. She just lived. She had a seatbelt. She's a very skinny little girl. She was crushed down into the footrest, the foot area of under the steering wheel, and she survived by the grace of God. I mean, that's all you can say. But remember, pretty seriously injured with a lot of injuries. Going back to your manslaughter murder thing, this I think really is the crux of the whole thing. It's very hard to prove that she intended to kill everybody. You can always fall back on manslaughter because that's a negligence thing, right? Like, there's no doubt she admits this herself. I fucked up. I caused an accident. I should go to jail. And you can really, a better lawyer would have made the case for a manslaughter situation. I agree. And I'm going to ask you a follow up to what you think about her lawyer. I know you had some opinions on that. Her attorney, I don't know his name. It's not important. He wasn't a big name attorney. But the murder thing is very interesting. That's the route they went. A bulldog had it in for her. And I'd also like you to comment on another thing we left out. She chose a judge. She chose one person to basically make the entire decision for her life. A jury, you have a shot at convincing that guy may think you're hot. That girl may be 3 years older, 4 years older than you, and she relates to you. That girl may have a daughter that's just like you, that lady. You have a shot. And with the judge, you don't have a shot. It's this way or that way. So I'm going to leave you the floor. Number one, tell us anything you want to say.
Well, so let's start there. I'll start on the reverse of where you started. So I agree. Picking a judge is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. I mean, clearly this is a jury type thing. It's like, it has to do with like relationships, young kids, stuff like that. Like, you want a jury there because this has so many chances to hit on someone's nerve where the jury gets hung. And I think you're off and running. You're good to go. I think picking a judge, you're almost certain the judge is going to come out with some kind of punishment for you. They're not going to let you off with nothing. That's not how judges work. So her lawyer and whoever advised her to pick the judge was just terrible. Then her lawyer was terrible too, because the lawyer clearly thought there's nothing here. The family thought there's nothing here. The family and the lawyer didn't even take the time to go through the stuff like the prosecution did. Prosecution brought in this guy who's a little bit like a stud. He goes through everything. He realizes the moment he's going to make his name for himself. He pushes some legal boundaries that I don't agree with. And she gets hammered to the wall before the family and her lawyer even realize what the hell is going on. I mean, I also imagine discovery in the case. So her lawyer thinks nothing of it. He's taking it easy. He gets a discovery. It's a piece of paper that shows the gas pedal is just pressed down the whole time. He probably doesn't even read that. Her lawyer, he's so out of touch. He's not even reading that. The other guy's building a whole case around that little factoid. He's not tipping him off. He just gave him a piece of paper. The guy probably didn't even realize. That's what it seemed to me. And that was a key piece of evidence. And so let me tell you this is where one of my other big stands is. I've been in a bad car accident like this. When I was a kid, I was in a friend's Geo Metro and he just got it and he floored it into a little bridge and he hit a jump in the air and he jumped and he hit a stop sign, landed in the intersection and hit a house. And I was in this car. Okay. So what happens is, interesting enough, when you're in a car like that, as soon as this guy hit the jump and he realized the car was going airborne, which is more than he had expected for, he immediately covered up like this and his foot stayed on the gas. And when he hit the intersection, lucky no cars were coming, he ended up running into the bottom of like one of these old New York houses. These things are like big brick houses. The car got stuck right by the tree and the stairs. It kind of wedged in there to help keep us safe, oddly enough. And so we all survived this horrific crash. But I witnessed it firsthand. As soon as you're going to make impact with something, the driver just covers up. And sometimes the foot stays on the throttle. And you're also going to see this a lot in motorcycle crashes. The internet is full of it. People get on a motorcycle for the first time, they pull the gas, they run into a building, they forget to let go of the gas. It's a term for it. It's called whiskey throttle. When shit goes down, people get whiskey throttle. They cover up, they forget the throttle is on, and they go. Also, I think the fact, and this is the case her lawyer should have made. Also, the fact that she hit the stop sign first. She didn't go directly into the building. If you're trying to kill everyone, you go directly into the building. Hitting that stop sign first leads me to believe that this is what I think happened. She caught him cheating again, or there's some fight, there's something happens. So she's like, oh yeah, watch this. So she floors the car. It's only 5 seconds from one end of the road to the other. She floors it. She's not like, they're trying to put it in neutral. She's not letting him. She's floored. And there's some kind of little fight ensues. And then they hit that stop sign. As soon as they hit that stop sign, everybody just covers up. And their bad luck is that there happened to be a building after that on the right side that killed those kids. I think she was trying to threaten them, probably. Maybe was expecting a minor accident to prove a point or something. I don't think she was trying to kill them. And she had been down that road one time before. It's her friend's house. She's a goddamn stoner driving around smoking weed 24 hours a day. I think she just went down that street. That's not the kind of crime you plan. If you're going to kill your boyfriend on a hike or something, you hike the path where you're going to push him off, but to just run into a stop sign accidentally first and then hit a building, and you're going to say that that's like this big grand plan she was putting together, I think that's bullshit. I think she just had a much better prosecutor. Her lawyer was unprepared. Her family was unprepared, and she got rolled.
Well, yeah, first of all, I agree. She didn't plan this. I think this was totally impulsive. I don't think drugs really came into play. I don't think weed and mushrooms, which is the only drugs they pretty much admitted these kids did. Maybe they did others, but there was never any talk of any others. Those aren't the ones that are going to get you real geeked up, man. So I don't believe that happened. Yeah, I think there was a fight, and I think that she played a scare tactic. And one scare tactic is you can't drive 90 miles or fucking 100 miles an hour. That's not a scare tactic. That's we're going to die. So she was very, I think, irresponsible. And again, this goes back to the manslaughter thing. She really caught a bad one with the murder charge. There's no doubt about that. So, I mean, I think we can put that to bed. They went after it, and I think part of it, and the same thing with the judge, she's not a likable character. I think to some people she is, and she's got a whole fan base, and we'll get into that. But as far as in a courtroom, she's always smoking. She smokes when she drives. She comes across as a very irresponsible, the whole entitled Gen Zer kind of thing. She screams it. And so she's very unlikable. And I think what didn't also help was that Dominic and Davion were very likable. They were sweet boys, it seemed. You made a good point about their fighting. Not one time in that documentary did they ever highlight a violent fight, a slap in the face, or anything. Well, it was all verbal, right?
I think there's a difference between being a lawyer who is savvy in the world and a lawyer who is just well educated. And let me tell you why. Because a lawyer that's just well educated is going to be like, don't talk to the police. Keep your lips sealed, Mackenzie. Don't say a fucking word. But a smart lawyer that's actually savvy would say, no, no, no. I am very well versed in how the world works, and this is the time to speak up. Because what she did by keeping quiet is she allowed the narrative to form around her, and the guy who was telling the best narrative was the prosecutor. So his story looms still to this day. All these documentaries, everything, it's about that prosecutor's story. If she had just simply come forward and said, listen, I need to tell my tale. I found out my boyfriend was cheating on me again. He was constantly locking me out of my house and stuff. I was worried. I was freaking out. So I floored the car to try to scare him, and then a fight ensued, and I couldn't return the car back the right way, and we ended up hitting a stop sign in a building. Now you're in manslaughter. Now she's getting like 1 to 5 years or something, 5 to 10 something. She's out in like a few years, and she's back to life. So I think if she had just told what is probably the most likely real story, she would be fine. But people around her told her not to. Obviously, it's a natural instinct to just clam up in this situation, and her lawyer's telling her she's going to get away with it. There's no possible case here. You can hear him saying it in the documentaries.
I mean, you want to talk about bad advice. This includes her mother as well. They try to use this fucking POTS theory, and by the way, the irony of that, this stoner has what they refer to as POTS. I never even fucking heard of it in my whole life. But anyways, so she has this thing where it's like, oh, she has seizures and epileptic episodes, and she may pass out. So maybe that's what happened. She passed out doing 100 into a wall. Well, you don't give them a fucking license. That's how that goes.
When people read through that stuff, you have to tell the truth in this situation. But here, I want to
imagine they try to use that.
Yeah, I want to give you an interesting fact about this too, and I'm going to make another point, okay? So there's 3,500 partner murders a year. So 3,500 people murder their partner a year in the USA, okay? Out of that, it's less females than males. So 1,000 of those are females killing a male partner, okay? But that's still a large number. Every year in this country, 1,000 women kill a male partner. That's 3 a day, right? And you never hear about
That's a shocking number.
You never hear about any of them. You've only heard about this one. Why? What's different about this one? I'll tell you what. She's hot. If you're hot in America, you will get press and you will get some version of justice on your case. If you're hot, just like Gabby Petito or whatever. Here's the problem. When you're hot, if you're not perfect or if you're not dead, then they're going to come down on you. So the problem Mackenzie has is, yeah, she's a normal, hot, popular girl, and that's not always the most best like media persona to lead with, right? And so when she just survives the crash alone, and then the prosecutor is deciding the narrative or whatever, I mean, it's basically been character assassination of her and her entire family. I don't think what's happened to her and her family you could look at and say, okay, this is a proper adjudication of justice. Like, this is a fucking circus, dude. This is a disaster. This, yeah, how about the fact that every phone call or message she makes with her mother is fucking out in the public sphere in like
It's leaked
seconds?
now. Yeah, there's YouTube channels. That's all.
This is justice.
All
This is the
everyone.
American justice
Yeah.
system. A 17-year-old gets tried as a fucking adult, and then you destroy her and her fucking family. I'm also tired of this shit in this country where there's these gray areas, and it started because of reasons like this. If she's 17, she's a kid. She's not an adult. You have to stick to the fucking law. But in touchy little areas of the law, we started to allow gray areas. Well, if the judge says the kid can be tried as an adult, then it's okay. And now look what that's led to. It's opened up this whole gray area can of worms where we have politicians, you know, taking millions of dollars and bribes and things and being like, oh, well, no, it's actually acceptable because. And so I just think that as soon as we got away from the letter of the law that we all grew up with, the black and whiteness of the law, it's been detrimental to the whole fucking society.
Well, they've allowed emotion to come into play. When you say, why does a minor get tried as an adult? We feel that the crime is so heinous. Obviously, it's usually child molestation or murder. That they decide, like, yeah, we're going after you.
But by law, it's supposed to be 17. This girl is too young to be tried as an adult, but we've allowed a gray area. And then once the gray area is opened up, what happens? Oh, you bring in the big prosecutor. He's showing her social media posts in the wrong light. He's destroying her fucking lawyer in the court. And now you've basically railroaded a 17-year-old into fucking a first-degree murder charge because she got in a fight with her boyfriend.
Well,
now people died. I'm not saying it's not horrible. It is horrible, and she should be punished for that. But this punishment is absurd for what happened.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about her punishment, because one of the things, when you alluded to the YouTube, I've watched some videos on this. They're just going to keep going and going, I guess, until somebody gets bored. But yes, all of her conversations to her mother are getting leaked. They're clickbait. They're huge clickbait on YouTube right now. All of her behavioral issues in prison are getting leaked. All of her sexual encounters are getting leaked. She seems to be having kind of a free-for-all in there, if you believe at least the videos and what everybody's saying about her.
Other people might call that survival, bro. I'm sure she'd much rather be out with her friends, you know? Being forced into a lesbian relationship in like a mostly minority-filled prison for survival is not
no one's
really,
asking for that.
you might be making the best of a bad situation, but it's no fucking
I think,
picnic.
of course.
I'm sure it's not a picnic.
No. I think it's called playing the game. So yeah. I agree.
She's a survivor. Is what
you have to be. I mean, she's
a motherfucking
a lot
hustler.
of years in there.
She's a hustler, but she's after that. She also might be a murderer. I mean, you know, those things probably go hand in hand sometimes.
Look, no one can fault. I agree. I think it's interesting how much we're paying attention to her prison behavior, but no one, honestly,
because she's hot.
Well, it is because she's hot, but the rules go out the window. This is survival. If you got to go down on, Sharkeisha, then you got to do it.
But what does it say about our society where we take a 17-year-old girl, we break the law that we already made that makes sense, where she shouldn't be tried if she's underage, then we overtry her, then we throw her in prison, then that's not even enough, then we have to like destroy and make fun of her family, then we have to know everything that she's doing in prison, and then we have to make sure that she makes no money off of it while we all consume the shit out of everything she fucking does. Like, what the fuck kind of society have we
made a movie
here?
called
This is the
Natural
justice
Born
system?
Killers.
This fucking zoo? This is justice?
Yes. They made a movie. It was called Natural Born Killers, and it's everything you just explained.
It's a great movie.
It's a great movie, and it skewers the United States with this kind of culture, and everything you said, it's abominable. But here we are making a podcast about it. So we can put that in our pipe, But no, I think, but we're being objective here, and there's a lot of people that are just getting off on all this, or that they have really strong opinions about it. We have an opinion. We're sharing it. I don't have a strong opinion. I'm not losing sleep over any of this.
I have a strong opinion. My opinion is get that bitch out of jail. Trump should pardon her. All these other losers should pardon. He should pardon her. He should let that goddamn girl out of jail. I feel terrible for Dom's family. I certainly feel terrible for the other kid's family that was just in the back. But this is a girl probably fighting with her boyfriend. This is not a planned murder. And that court case was a charade. Having that one lawyer prepared and the other lawyer who wasn't prepared, I mean, that was just a joke. And then the judge just came after her in the end, said, this is the fault of one person's decisions. No, it's not. Every relationship fight fight is the fault of two people. Now they might not be equal, but Dom certainly played a role in all of this. I mean, give me a break.
You would figure, well, but she browbeat the shit out of him. Like whenever they show the highlights of their relationship, you would just see Dom
But
never
you know what
saying a
that
word.
comes from, dude? That
Never
comes from
saying a word.
financial confidence too. When his family owns a house, when Dom is a weed dealer and he's got
Right.
the money that's supporting her and he's like running the whole show and it's like his clique and her life, it gives him a lot of control so he can yield it more calmly. Not saying he wasn't cool, calm, and collected because that dude
Well,
was. God bless him for that. He,
here's
he he was he was more peaceful beyond his years, but
well,
still,
you know
he
what? Here's the
still
other
is.
thing that hurt her.
You
By the
can
way,
wield power calmly.
she made a lot of threats. It seemed like one of the opinions that everyone shared
Did he
was
cheat on him or did he cheat on her? He
he
cheated
cheated
on
on
her.
her according to how
So I mean, I'm
I
just saying, like
but well, first of all, they were both good looking enough that they both probably cheated on each other. Some of the witnesses said that she cheated on him, and that, by the way, the boy that has the red Averex jacket, the Netflix documentary doesn't say it, but he's a former ex boyfriend of hers. He dated her for a month supposedly. For some reason, Netflix didn't say that; they just said Dom's friend. But I think, yes, going back to your point, I think the thing with her is she was one of those girls that might have been a little off, and it was one of those, if I can't have you, nobody will. And maybe that's also what happened. Again, not really provable, but I think she gave off those sort of vibes, and at least that was what the some of the friends said. On the other hand, she had a few friends that would never say one bad thing about her. If you remember,
Yeah, the
the
one girl wouldn't even testify. She's like, they just want to know about the drug dealers, this and that. I'm like, I respect
yeah,
this
yeah.
friend. This friend's a
So
soldier.
she was good to her. And then the one husky boy that had the mustache, he didn't throw her under the bus either. And then the other one, the stupid one with that, was like, she wouldn't even eat a chicken. She can't. She wouldn't commit suicide. She didn't even eat McDonald's. It was like, all right, well, they got the brain dead one there.
I don't think
But
she was suicidal either. I really don't. There's nothing
I
about
don't
her
think
that
she.
leads
I
to
don't think she was
suicidal.
suicidal. I think she was. She's
Kids think they're
all
inevitable.
talk. It's an all
Kids
talk
think they're
suicidal.
invincible at that age, dude. She didn't think she was going to die from that crash or that they would.
Probably not. And well, that was her mistake. Again, she's like, I'll show you. Watch, I'm going to fuck around. If you fuck around and find out. That's the big thing now, and everybody. Well, you can't do that at 90 or 100.
No,
You
that's
can
what I
do it
think.
at
90 or
60.
100, he's reaching for the thing. She puts it back in drive.
Yeah.
He grabs the wheel. They're kind of fighting. Next thing you know, you hit the stop sign. As soon as that happens, everybody covers up. Boom, building.
Yeah.
That's it.
Listen, you could scare someone at 50, 60. You could scare them at 70 on 95. 90 or 100, it just takes one. There's no time for even a mistake.
No,
And that's what happened here. I think that's where she messed up for sure. Yeah, this one doesn't seem like it's going away. This one's a big story, still getting a lot of views on Netflix. I wasn't familiar. I don't know about you. I wasn't familiar with this until the documentary came out. But yes, this has become huge. Her jail life has become huge, and I think what this is also going to do, what you touched upon, is it's going to parlay into our next story about.
Let me end this right here with it.
Go
What
ahead.
was disappointing to me too was at the end of it, you see what prison has done to her. Okay. So look at the girl that went into prison. Look at the girl that's in prison now. And
Right.
ask yourself, is the prison system working? Is it doing its job? Is Mackenzie learning from her mistakes? Is she becoming rehabilitated? Or is she trying to survive a horrible environment? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, as a general thing here, like we're in a rush to try these children as adults. We're in a rush to give these victims a lot of say in the punishment that these people get, even though they're far too close to the crime to be the ones to decide the punishment. And what we're getting, dude, is a criminal justice system that is just absolutely atrocious, that keeps human beings in cages, that makes them worse than when they went in. And it doesn't seem like there's any real value to our criminal justice system. I mean, I guess it gives you some warped sense of like revenge for the victims, but at the end of the day, it's just a cesspool, dude. What about the idea of the fact that like if you're in prison and you're in a women's prison, you're expected to have lesbian relationships, and if you're in a male prison, you're supposed to accept that you can be raped in the ass. Like, I mean, and that's just the biggest running joke in
Well,
America.
that
People
is
talk
one.
about it all
Well,
the time. Don't drop the soap in prison. And
well,
we're supposed to
it is a
respect it. We're
bizarre
supposed to
thing.
respect the system.
Well, first of all, no,
And these are owned by
no.
private corporations. These are private corporations that have warehouses of people that are raping each other. And
Yeah,
we're
but
supposed to respect that
if,
industry.
if you could let me get in here, this is where you just hit on the head, though. These are private corporations. It doesn't behoove them for people to get better and to avoid going back in there. What it does behoove them is that you stay in there for longer sentences and you stay in there as long as possible. That's how they make their money. It also becomes a labor force. A lot of people don't know that prison labor is cheaper than foreign labor, whether you think it's Mexicans or Indians or Filipinos or Indonesians, whatever you think they're getting paid, prisoners get way less. And they use them for all sorts of things. And it's very, very hush hush and quiet. And by the way, a little secret, anybody can Google this. One of the biggest investors in the private prison industrial complex, and it's always done through names you'd never know because they own 8 to 10 prisons, is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, strangely enough, this icon of Black Americana, and someone that you would think probably wouldn't want his name attached to this, is actually benefiting financially from the fact that young Black men go to prison at an inordinate rate. And so there's a little side note to that. There is no getting better in prison. And you're right. Going back to the sexual thing that you said, it's funny that as an American society, that's what we're so bent on, is the sexual aspect of what you're forced to do in prison. Don't bend over, don't pick up the soap, and the whole gay thing. And it's like, how many years do you have to get to turn gay? Like, if you're a lifer, there's a good chance. If you're doing 6 years,
I'll ask you this too: like,
gay?
how Middle East is it? Like, when they got Gaddafi, or like one of these people, not Gaddafi, like one of these people fall and they get him in like the streets and they'll like stick like a broomstick up his ass or whatever. That's like the way that they like kind of like demoralize you as like a politician after they get a hold of you in like one of these dictatorships. But then we do the same thing right here in the US, where it's like, when people think about the punishment that people get in prison, they're like, oh, he's a murderer, good for him, he's gonna get raped in the ass, get in there, Bubba's gonna be your roommate, buddy. And it's like, America like they're like, oh yeah, our criminals, they get fucked in the ass, we send them right into prison and someone fucks them in the ass. Like, it's really bizarre, dark, weird fucking thing that we have going on with these prisons. It's fucking strange.
Listen, remember this: we're a throwaway culture. Prisoners are thrown away, just like the elderly's thrown away, just like everything. We're just a very bizarre culture in that regard. So I completely agree with you. I don't think anybody should be sitting here thinking that this is a system of rehabilitation, nor was it ever meant to be. You couldn't point to anything that proves that.
I'm going to throw out my buddy Mackenzie. I'm part of the Mackenzie fan club now. So I'm gonna throw my buddy Mackenzie away. And now I got to tell you about this. So this is perfect from where we've taken it in, but I'm going to bring us back to the news.